Welcome to a new episode of the Commerce Lab. My name is Vincenzo Toscano. I am the CEO and founder of 𝐃𝐎𝐍'𝐓. Today's topic is going to be around what are the typical strategies you should be implementing to help you grow your sales on Amazon in 2022. So I think whenever we bring this topic to the table, there's always two ways to attack this approach in terms of scaling your sales. So there is always the approach of having a lot of funding, which is of course is going to allow you to implement faster routes in terms of scaling your sales. And there's the traditional one, which is of course where most people lay these days. So the first approach, which is regarding when you have a lot of funding to your disposal, I think it's very important that you should be considering the following strategies, and you should start implementing them from day one if a budget is not a problem for you. So I think the number one strategy would be sell on multiple marketplaces, starting in multiple marketplaces. So if you have the funding, I think the fastest way to increase your revenue exponentially would be to start in different marketplaces at the same time, and that's going to allow you to, of course, drive more traffic and sales to help you keep scaling your business. I think the second approach will be also add more products. So I know, let's say, for example, you're launching a sports brand and you are starting to sell just a water bottle. Why not use that extra maybe budget if you have it and start launching maybe a variety of products that could be complemented with the water bottle? So it could be, for example, elastic bands. It could be accessories for the gym, some kind of maybe accessories to make exercise at home. So things that people could relate and make a purchase in terms of buying all that under the same brand. So I think that would be a great idea to help you scale your sales significantly faster compared to other strategies out there if you have the budget. So that would be the side if you have the budget at your disposal. The reality is that most people are there starting Amazon FBA don't have the budget at their disposal, so therefore it could be a bit difficult for them to implement this, especially if you want to launch multiple products at the same time, or of course launching in different marketplaces at the same time, because you need to remember that if you launch in multiple marketplaces, that means you need to also spend a lot of resources in translating all your images, your product listings, maybe even the packaging. Then you need to have a exclusive Amazon PPC strategies for each marketplace. So all these are things that are going to cost you a lot. Okay, so just take these strategies into consideration if budget is not an issue. Now, if budget is an issue, as I already mentioned, which is going to be the majority, then we start jumping into the strategies, which is what we're going to be covering today. So I think the strategies to increase your traffic and sales, I think the number one for sure is PPC advertising. I think PPC advertising should be always a number one priority when it comes to launching your product on Amazon and help you increase the traffic and the initial sales of your product. Whenever you're launching your initial PPC campaigns, make sure you're using as many campaigns as possible within the options that your brand allows you. What I mean by that is, of course, if you don't have brand registered, you're not going to be able to use a specific type of campaigns such as sponsored brands. So if that's the case, start using all the type of sponsored products available on your disposal. If you have the brand register, then of course start using things such as the sponsored brands and also sponsored display. I think sponsored brands has a very powerful strategy in terms of campaign type, which is the video ads. So make sure that from day one, if you have that option available, make a very nice video and make sure you target the most important keywords in terms of relation to your product, which is going to help you a lot to start driving that initial awareness around your brand and also potentially convert it into sales. When it comes also, just to briefly touch on the structure of these campaigns, you want to make sure that you go very niche in terms of the relation to your product, so you're very efficient, and at the same time you're going to make sure that all the traffic and sales that you get through those keywords, if they are very closely related to your niche, is going to significantly help you to rank higher organically on those keywords in the long term. So that's the PPC side of things. Of course, that can get much more complicated, but at the beginning stages, when you're looking to increase your traffic and sales, PPC for sure, you need to have the basic campaigns that we always talk about, which is the manual and automatic campaigns. And as you start having more tools under your disposal, make sure you take advantage of all of them as long as the budget allows it. Then, once we have the PPC advertisement being taken care of in terms of a strategy to help you with traffic and sales, we jump into what we call the search engine optimization side of things. So, I think it's very important that when it comes to optimizing your listing, that you of course take a lot of consideration when it comes to all the keywords and how you structure the listing in terms of visual content. So when it comes to optimizing the listing, it's very important that you ensure that when you're doing the keyword research for your listing, you are taking the top keywords that relate to your product. And this, of course, can be done by a series of methods. You can use your competitors, analyzing competitors that are very closely related to you. You can also analyze seed keywords and then using tools such as Magnet in Helium 10 to find the derivation of those keywords. So those are some of the methods you can use to find the best keywords for your listing, and you need to make sure those keywords are in your listing from day one. One big mistake I see a lot is that people might think, okay, I need to start selling this product right away. I don't have time to optimize it. I might do it more down the line. And that's a huge mistake, because if you don't have the listing fully optimized from day one, first of all, you're not taking advantage of what we call the honeymoon period, which is a period where Amazon give you the benefit of the doubt in terms of positioning you higher, allowing you to rank faster in certain keywords. And if you are not fully optimized, you're gonna miss that train. And second of all, you might not start relating to keywords within your category that are going to be very important for you to scale your sales organically. So always make sure that from day one, your listing is fully optimized. Otherwise, you're not going to take advantage of those initial weeks, and they're going to be key for you in the long term. Once you have the listing fully optimized, to ensure that you keep increasing your traffic and sales, it's very important that you design a system or method within your team or even yourself to check your listing on a monthly basis. I think it's very important that once you launch your product and once you ensure the listing is fully optimized, you don't fall in the trap of thinking that it's a one-time thing and that's it, because that's not the case. I mean, you need to understand that as you start generating traffic and you start, for example, generating data from your PPC campaign, most likely you might encounter keywords and you might encounter phrases that you might be missing in your listing, and you not make sure that you keep adding them, right? You might encounter that for some reason a variation of a seed keyword is giving you a lot of sales on your PPC campaign, and you don't have that keyword in your listing. So you need to make sure that keyword is added again, either on the title, the bullet points, the back end, or the description of the product. So that's very important to ensure that you keep the momentum in terms of the data and what you do with that data to keep the efficiency in terms of the growth of that product. So once you're sure that you have the listing fully optimized, we jump then into the images. Images is also a very big thing that's going to help you a lot to grow your sales. I mean, we have seen with our clients that sometimes just by changing the image, the main image for listing, we have seen a significant jump in sales. And I think it's very important that you do A/B testing with this. Amazon even now allows you to do that. So make sure you take advantage of that. And let's say, for example, that you're in the production phase of your product and you're also getting your images ready. Of course, you might not know yet or even be able to use the Amazon tool to do A/B testing, right? So for that, there is a good solution out there, which actually it just rolled out from Helium 10, which allows you to use data in terms of an audience where you put different images of your product, image variation basically, and you get votes based on what people think is a better angle, a better lighting, a better positioning of the product, and that's going to be a good a beginning point to ensure you get started with the product with the best image possible. Now, if you see that for some reason your conversion is still poor, that's where changing the images can help you a lot. with growing your sales and traffic. So that's the main image. When it comes to the rest of the images, it's very important that you also make sure that those images are really connecting with the audience, right? So we see a lot that people just keep adding the same image over and over, just with different angles, and that's for sure not gonna help you. You need to make sure that you have the remaining six images should be things around lifestyle, infographics, products being used in different features in terms of functionalities, things like that, where people can connect and understand the actual, they can actually see themselves using the product. So that's very important. So I would say if we need to summarize something very important within the full product listing optimization, I would say images is top priority after ACO. You need to make sure those images are on point. Otherwise, all the traffic that you're going to be getting from your PPC might end up not converting because they don't feel the confidence that they need to feel when jumping into your listing to make the decision to purchase your product. So when we come to the conclusion, understanding what is important to grow your traffic and conversions, we already covered the PPC advertising. We also covered the search engine optimization, which within the search engine optimization, you have what we call the listing optimization, and the listing optimization is divided within the image optimization and the ACO writing of the listing. But there is a final point which actually also helps a lot with making sure that your sales and your traffic is not affecting. So this is what we call the cataloging is sort of your listing, right? So the cataloging is basically making sure that your listing is in line with all the rules of Amazon. So it's very important that you always make sure that you're not using prohibited keywords in the back end or in the front end that might trigger your listings. Make sure that you're always checking for any kind of basically issue that your listing might be getting suppressed. So you're gonna be seeing sometimes that your listing gets suppressed, and a lot of times we see clients that they find out after 3 4 days, and that's actually a period where your traffic and conversions and also sales are gonna drop. So how you avoid that? So first of all, make sure you design a system within your company, either you or somebody from your team, to always check the back end of your listing by using flat files and making sure you are using all the fields in the back end, and making sure you're not using any prohibited keywords or you're not making any claims that can get your listing trigger. So this usually you can find it within the Amazon guidelines. So besides that, of course, sometimes there are things that can slip, right? Sometimes Amazon rules change very fast, and sometimes we don't even find out about those changes. The listing gets suppressed, and that listing suppression might even lead to an account suspension. So you always want to make sure that you can take action as fast as possible, because of course, the faster you take an action, the faster you can get the listing and account back, and you avoid those conversions and traffic being affected. So for that, you must nowadays for sure be using a software tool that can send you immediately notifications when that issue arises around your listing on account. And for that, again, I also recommend 𝐂𝐿𝐿. I use it myself with my clients. They provide you with a tool that basically tells you everything that has to do with your account and your listing. So if images are changed, if something with the listing change, if the listing gets suspended, any issue at all, you get an email, and sometimes you can even set up a direct text messages, which is amazing. I mean, you get instant notification, and that's great, because remember that in Amazon, every minute you are not showing there, that's minutes that you're not getting traffic, you're not getting conversions, and you're not getting any sales. Okay, so make sure that you are taking this advice into practice and use any kind of software to make sure this doesn't happen to you. Now, I think we have covered the basics and the general idea that everybody knows, which is PPC advertising, listing optimization, basically making sure your listing doesn't get suspended to ensure your conversions and sales are kept healthy. But I think I also want to bring to the table a bonus in terms of things that you can do to improve your traffic and conversions. So I think the number one thing is for sure Amazon Live. Amazon Live this year is going to be big. So make sure you start implementing that within your brand. Make sure you start doing some kind of deal structure with influencers within the platform where they can either do live shows showcasing your product, doing some kind of unboxing, just talking about your product. I mean, people is getting a lot of engagement from those lives, and I think if you take advantage of that engagement, you can even transform them into loyal followers for your brand, which they might end up even following your brand. And once they follow your brand, you can use them for future launches, promotions, and things like that. So I think taking advantage of Amazon Live is huge, and this go hand by hand with Amazon social posts, right? So it's basically having like an Instagram but within Amazon. So make sure you're posting at least once or twice per day. These images we have found that usually work the best when the images are very organic. So what I mean by this is don't try to just use very high production images of your product. Actually try to implement some kind of strategy which can allow you to obtain images from your customers, so you can use them on the social media strategy, right? So it can be, maybe let's say you're doing deals structure with influencers outside of Amazon, or you have some kind of a channel outside of Amazon where you sell your product. Maybe you offer them some kind of discount for sending a picture with the product or a video, and this material you can reutilize within the Amazon social platform, which we have seen it helps also a lot for people getting more in confidence with your brand, and then you can convert them into your potential customers. And final tip, which I'm pretty sure everybody's hearing around, is external traffic. External traffic is also super big this year. I'm pretty sure you have started to see strategies, webinars, all kind of training around how to bring traffic from outside of Amazon. The basics, of course, is working with influencers. So we have seen already some agencies offering services where they help you connect with micro influencers, and these micro influencers could be in social media channels such as Instagram or TikTok, which is the hottest one right now. And in these social media channels, what they can do is they can talk about your product, they can talk to their community, even offering a specific discount on Amazon so the community can go to Amazon and make a purchase. And whenever you make that purchase, it helps significantly in terms of helping you with your organic ranking. And I think a final addition to this tip is also have a look on YouTube. A lot of people always focus, especially these days, on TikTok and Instagram, but a lot of people, especially brands, I haven't seen them going very hard on YouTube. And in YouTube, there's tons of content creators that are not very big, like 10, 20,000 subscribers, but maybe they're focused on doing unboxings of, again, water bottle, the example I used before. So you might contact them and say, oh, can you include my water bottle on your next top 10 water bottles for hiking? And then you can include that link within your description. You can even then use attribution to track the traffic. And then if you are within the USA or UK, you can get 10% back of each sale you get through those links. I mean, it's very powerful. So have a look into that. I recommend it a lot if you're looking to increase traffic and conversions. And I think that would be everything for today, guys. I think just to summarize it, so you have a very clean understanding of how you should be implementing this. First of all, focus on everything that has to do with your listing optimization. So it will be the ACO side of things. Make sure you're using always the right keywords, and you keep on a monthly basis updating your listing to ensure you're always on top of your data. The second side of your listing is your images. Don't be afraid of changing the images, especially the main image, to test it. Try to also add video to your listing and explore new ways to improve the conversion rate. The third point, it will be also make sure the listing back end and the listing cataloging side of things is always taken care of using software tools that make allow you to understand if the listing is being changed on the back end or if it's been suppressed, and then you can have a very good understanding when things are going wrong, and you can also make the necessary changes. Then we also cover the PPC side of things. I always mention that PPC is huge. Make sure that you always implement PPC in any kind of form. So explore all the different tools that are available to you based on your brand availability, and make sure you take advantage of those according to your budget. Okay, and I think that will be everything, guys. Thank you very much for being present today. I appreciate everybody that's liking, subscribing, and sharing this content with other community members out there. It helps a lot to keep bringing people into this channel. Remember that we also broadcasting all these episodes on our podcast channels, which is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And lately, we also been putting all these episodes on our new Twitch channel for people that use that platform. Finally, remember to also, if you desire, share an honest feedback or whatever platform you're hearing us. It helps us a lot to keep growing the community and keep bringing you the best content to ensure you can grow your Amazon brand on Amazon. So, have an amazing day. Take care and definitely see you on the next one. Bye bye.